Hi, this is Dr. Geneva, and in this Ignite to Impact episode, we'll hear from Michelle Washington, who inspires women to be their more, who helps us exceed our expectations and teaches us about visualizing our future. Join us, listen, as she tells us about all the ways we can change.
Welcome to Ignite to Impact, a weekly podcast about next generation leadership and what it takes to make a difference at work, with family, and in your community. Get ready to be inspired as we pull back the curtain and dive into intimate and energetic conversations with achievers and doers who are in the trenches navigating workplace politics and influencing change. Get ready to hear how leaders fail and get back up, learning how to keep it together while traveling in their leadership journey. Our mission: to help you with leadership tips and strategies that you can use to get fast results and help make your business, community, and world a better place. Now, here's your host, Master Leadership Strategist, Dr. Geneva Williams. So, let's ignite to impact.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ignite to Impact. This is Dr. Geneva, and we are going to talk to a passionate, professional, innovative, and servant leader right now. I'm so delighted to bring you Michelle Washington. Michelle loves to serve, empower, and uplift people wherever she goes. And she had the opportunity to serve in corporate America. Her passion, however, is for helping women and empowering women to be their more. That's MORE. Now, we're going to hear all about more. Michelle Washington is the founder and CEO of Women of More organization. And this is an organization that hosts events, workshops, and conferences that lead women to be their more. She's also an author of the, guess what, More magazine, which was established in 2016. And in this magazine, she highlights women who are industry leaders, game changers, community leaders, business owners, and difference makers. So as you can imagine, she knows an awful lot about helping women discover their more. She's got a leadership series going on. We're going to hear about that. And so without further ado, let's all say hello to Michelle Washington.
Hello, Dr. Geneva. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
We're delighted. So Michelle, let's just start off learning a little bit more about you. Share with our listening audience, what was it like growing up, Michelle Washington?
Well, actually, I was, or I am, a pastor's kid. So you can really imagine the structure, the discipline. But the one thing that I realized, my house was full with love. I had the opportunity of, living with mom and dad. But my grandmother, my father's mom, lived with us. And she was like that anchor for us. I'm the middle child. I have an older brother, older sister, then it's me, and then it's my twin sisters. So with all of that, I had to find my way. But my father always shared with me to protect my mother and grandmother, because the oldest ones went away. So it was me for 10 years. And then my younger sisters came, so we're 10 years apart. Mm-hmm. So there was a great amount of time that I was by myself. But all in all, growing up, it was amazing. I didn't realize what I was doing as a kid was preparing me for this moment. Mm. When I was younger, I used to place my stuffed animals and my doll babies before me, and I'll pull out my dresser, and I begin to speak and empower my teddy bears and just try to save them and get their lives right. But I didn't realize then that it was preparing me, because at that moment I was building muscles that I thought I was ready to do that, but it was really preparing me for what I knew I was called to do.
And so how'd you help them teddy bears? What'd you say to them?
Listen. Listen, I would talk to them about just changing their lives and being a preacher's kid. I wanted to preach like my father, so I'm, reading different stories in the Bible to them and, just trying to inspire them. And I wish I had some of my notes and journals from back when I was a little kid, because they probably are still relevant today. And
absolutely.
Things now. So I wish I still had that. But it was a matter of empowering. At 9 years old, I knew what I was called to do. Now, I didn't think in my journey that I would be a pastor, but I knew that I would empower women. And I just began with the teddy bears.
Oh, that is really great. So 9 years old, you started, didn't know necessarily what it was all about, but you were interacting with your teddy bears, empowering them. Then what happened? How'd you end up in corporate America?
Actually, it came after I got a divorce. So moving so fast into that, I got married. Even if you want to take me back to that point, getting married. My father told me not to marry this dude, but being young and naive, I don't want to say dumb, but being young and naive, I did it anyway. And my mom and dad, they didn't come to the wedding. I was disappointed then, but I understand why they didn't. It hurt a lot, but I understood. So I went through the marriage, and it was just a devastating marriage. I shouldn't have done it. I was disobedient. It became physical, mentally, and emotionally abusive. So in that, we formed after school program, and it was called High Achievers. So we were trying to get the kids to become high achievers in their community and in their lives. And once I got a divorce, I left the house, I left my clothes and all of that, and eventually I left the business because I just wanted freedom. I wanted my life. I wanted peace. I didn't want to go back and forth saying who, what, and this belongs to you and that. So I had to find a job. And I got denied several times, but it was something about I went to a temporary agency. And, of course, with that, you're pretty much hired. They're just looking for work for you. And it was supposed to have been a group of us. I was the only one that showed up. And in that, I knew that God was directing me. And for the people that are listening now, sometimes what we think is rejection is really God's protection to lead you to a place of promise. I thought that, why am I out here? People were saying, no, I know I could do the job. But even going to corporate, going to Bank of America was another position. It was another marker or another station for me to learn and develop skills and tools and build relationships to where I was going. So that's how I ended up in corporate.
And so that was interesting, talking about that sometimes you make a plan to go down one road and you end up getting diverted, going down another road, and it turns out to be okay. That maybe that was really the road you should have been on before, but you had to take some twists and turns. And I would assume through all of that, Michelle, you learn things too.
You do learn things, and you realize what you're missing, and that's what I said. What seems like rejection is really God's protection, because sometimes when we're searching for something or someone, we're out of sync. We're not even in the right path. So those things where God moving us, like sometimes like with the ducks or a particular animal is always nudging the baby to move a certain way. And that's how God is, I believe, with me, that he was nudging me a different way because I made some choices that would have, I don't even think that I would have been here today if I made other choices.
So then you were in corporate America for a while, and what got you to more?
Okay. Well, I thank God that I was downsized, like totally downsized.
Okay.
I'm so excited about it because, listen, when you're in a place that you know is no longer your resting place, it becomes uncomfortable to stay there. And that's how it was for me. It was so uncomfortable. I knew there was more to me. I knew that I wanted to do something different because corporate has its way. It's a whole nother culture in there. And when you know purpose is calling you, it's like, come on now. So when I got downsized, it was the best thing ever that happened to me. And with that, I was able to regain some momentum within my life. Now, the more came, I believe that came while I was in corporate. It happened where in a season of me lying to myself, meaning I was telling myself that, well, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe, this isn't for me. And then I allowed society to paint a picture for me. But the worst picture that I was painting was the one that I did on myself, which wasn't good. And I was in the meditation, and I know I heard God so clearly. He said, "You're a woman of more." And the light bulb went off. And I said, I am more. I'm more than the abuse. I'm more than being a divorced woman. I'm more than being a single mom, which I hate that people say. I know why. But when I was married, nobody said, oh, she's a married mom. They just said, she's a mom. But the single thing, I get it. But, I'm more than that. So when I got that revelation, I said, if I needed that, there are women out there that need a reminder that they're more than the story. They're more than the roles and the titles that we play. It's nothing wrong with being a wife, a mother, grandmother, doctor, lawyer, all these titles. But sometimes some women, we get stuck behind the title and we do nothing else. Sometimes we don't see a woman evolved, and this is some women, until she's in her late age, which is fine. But those early years, she was just being a mom. And nothing's wrong with that. So listeners, there's nothing wrong with that. But I know that God has given us the ability to do more. It's all about balance. Dr. Geneva, we all sometimes with women conference, we always talking about the Proverbs 31 woman. Well, with her, we know that she was diverse. She had a capacity to do different things, being a mother, being a wife, being an entrepreneur. So what I try to do is to encourage women, whether it's not about just being in business. You may want to pick up dancing lessons. You may want to volunteer somewhere, but you talk yourself out of it. There's more to you. There's more to you. So that's my message, that there's more.
So let's break that down a little, if you could, Michelle, for us. So there's more for us. Now, does that mean we can have it all? Does that mean we need to do more, get more roles? Does that mean we should think more of ourselves and have more to do with confidence? How do you break down that more?
Well, what I believe that you can have the more that God has predestined for you. The desires of your heart is the more. That there is something within us that hinder us from even trying new stuff. Like today, I launched Fit for More. Fit for More is a fitness, just a boot camp that I'm doing for the summer. First and third Saturdays in a park here in Delaware, just for women. It's free. So the women came out. They was inspired. I said, there's more to you. We complain about certain things, but we don't do anything about it. So the more is, whatever your heart's desire, you can do that.
I see. Okay.
Like I said, sometimes we'll go the whole week. And to all the people that's listening now, listen, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being a wife, being wherever you work, being a mother. I'm a grandmother, and I'm so excited about that role in my life. But there's more to. When do we take an opportunity to pull out those talents and gifts and desires? Just do it. Just be more from that standpoint. Whatever level, whatever dimension, whatever it is, be that.
So Michelle, how do you help? And I know you do a lot of coaching, and you use your magazine, and you have these classes. How do you help women discover their more, to find out what it is to pull out, what there is to, do more of?
I'm glad you asked that question, because now I'm getting those questions to how. And the one thing that I do that I absolutely love, and this really is my heart passion, I go into the women's prison once a week, and I teach them. It's a program called Courage to Change, and I'm helping them identify the how to get from their place of addiction to a place of fulfillment. So the one thing that I share with women in the how, and I'm going to start talking about the how. For me, when I got married in an abusive relationship, I forgot what I was passionate. I forgot how happy and satisfied I was talking to those teddy bears. I forgot how I loved playing the drums. I forgot. I forgot because life, or I allowed life to paint me a picture that I start believing. So the one thing you could do is the how is go back to that little girl, because generally that's where we dropped it off. Whether it's that little 9-year-old, that teenage girl, whether it was in your 20s, there was a point in our lives that we were so satisfied. We knew clearly what we wanted to do when we grew up. We knew that we even liked writing and drawing and painting and all these other kind of stuff, but life, painted a different picture. So I say go back to that place where you was most fulfilled. Number 2, start discovering that thing. Whether it's one or two things, start discovering, do some research on it. See if there are painting classes or dance classes or different groups somewhere in regards to your liking, and just connect with people that are doing what you desire to do. And then thirdly, I would say be passionate about it. Life is going to happen. There are so many curveballs that have been thrown at me in regards to this magazine, but I had to focus in to my finish line and just know that those life moments is really teaching me a lesson. So one, go back to that place that you was most fulfilled. When you was talking, you was telling your girlfriend, hey, when I grow up and this is what I want to do, go back there. Number 2, start finding somebody that's doing that. Do some research. Go to YouTube. You can find everything on YouTube. And begin to start where you are. Start where you are and just begin to develop that thing.
Well, if you're just joining us here on Ignite to Impact, we're having an insightful conversation with Michelle Washington, who's passionate, professional, innovative, and she calls herself a servant leader. And she loves to serve and empower and uplift people, and she started out doing it with her teddy bears and other stuffed animals, and she's developed into the CEO of more for you, more for yourself. And so we were just kind of dissecting, well, how do you discover your more? And she left us with some really great tips, including go back to when you were a little girl. That's I love that, because again, you go back to that time of innocence and where you can do everything. The whole world was possible. So travel back there and think about things that delighted you and excited you and you said you were going to do when you grew up, and then discover it, this whole process of self-discovery and who else is doing it, and then be passionate about pursuing whatever it was that you discovered during that period when you were a little girl. So how have you put these 3 how-to steps into action, Michelle?
Everything that I do, whether it's the magazine, whether it's our live events, whether it's this fitness camp, I'm starting, what I'm learning, Dr. Geneva, the more that I do, the more things starts to unfold. So you're always discovering. I believe there's no way, Dr. Geneva, this is the only thing to you. I know that. I know there's more to you. It's just a matter of timing. It's a matter of that particular seed producing itself within you. And then I look at Dr. Geneva, what? You got a new campus, or you doing this for women and you doing that. It's not that you're doing too much. You're just starting to see the things within you harvest. This is what I want to do. So everything, those 3 points is what I live by. I live by them, and I'm not and Dr. Geneva, this is the thing for the listeners too. I'm not afraid anymore to discover and to play around with those things that are now there that I see. I'm not trying to be perfect in my discovery. I'm just happy that I discovered, oh, wow, I can draw. Oh, I can paint. People want me to do voiceover. Oh, oh, I can. So I'm like, wow. So I'm having fun, not living in fear anymore. And that didn't happen truly until a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Because, fear is not for our today. Fear comes up when you start visualizing yourself in the future. Because fear say, oh, you can't do that. Why would fear try to discourage us right now? We're already doing it. Fear comes when you try to move beyond where you are. That's why I got to continue to say, there's more to you, Michelle. Come on now. Got to talk myself through it. I just made a post. I did a video in regards to encouraging yourself. When everybody goes away, when your friends are gone, what are you saying? Because that was most important, Dr. Geneva. It's what I was saying. What I was saying after I discovered, Michelle, you used to talk to your teddy bears. Why are you scared and fearful of doing this? You used to do it.
Yes.
Get up and do it. So I everything that I do, I remember what I enjoyed. I find someone that's doing it, whether I talk to them directly. Man, YouTube is a great university for you to discover and learn. And then I begin to go into motion and make it my own and stay focused on me.
Yes.
Not what you're doing, Dr. Geneva, or someone else. Stay focused. I stay in my lane. And just go after it.
Michelle, you such good stuff. You mentioned one of your really important points. I thought one of your many things you said was about visualizing your future. And then you talked about how sometimes fear can come in there and kind of, play with you and mess with you. But this whole notion of visualizing your future, visioning, doing that vision, talk a little bit about that.
Well, you already know I'm animated, and I do things that are not, normal in regards to me getting to a place where I need to go. So I'm a, single woman. I have 2 kids, 24 and 19, and I have a granddaughter that's 4. So I have my home, and in my room, I actually write on my wall. Now, there are some places where I have the white paper that sticks to the wall, but I actually write on my wall, wherever I am going to be, whether it's me putting my makeup on or doing my hair, whatever. And I'm writing down what I need to do. I'm also writing declarations that I speak over my life constantly. Number two, if I'm trying to go somewhere, I'm going to print out that place or person, and I'm aiming everything. I'm watering what I have visualized. See, I know that in the beginning of the year, we have tons, millions of vision board parties, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, as life goes on, the year, we put that vision board behind the bookshelf, or it's behind the chair, or it's tucked away. That excitement is no longer there, and then we get frustrated because what we have visualized don't come to pass. We get to a short story with Kathy Hughes. Kathy Hughes, for her to get on the cover, it took 8 months. 8 months for that to manifest itself. I took the initiative. I reached out, did my work. I didn't hear from her team.
Now, when you say on the cover, you're talking about on the cover of your magazine, More. Yes. Okay.
Geneva. Yep.
Go ahead.
Cover of Women of More magazine.
Go ahead.
It took 8 months. And what I did was I kept emailing and hoping and praying somebody. I found the number. I just left the voicemail, introduced myself, and, whatever. So I found out where her corporations were. It's one in New York, and there's one in Silver Springs, Maryland. Okay. So I printed those out, and I really was focused on the Silver Springs, Maryland, because it's easy breezy, it's there. New York, I love New York, but I was really stuck on this particular one. So I put both of those corporations, her campus, on my desk. As I was working, I was saying, if Kathy Hughes is working, I'm going to work. I kept saying, one day I'm going to be in one of those buildings. One day I'm going to be in that building. 8 months later, I walked into the Silver Springs, Maryland building. I turned the corner, and when I saw what I was declaring and visualizing, man, you're talking about emotional. I became so full and so grateful. I knew that I was grateful for the opportunity to meet her, but I was so grateful that God manifested what I was facing for. I no longer have need of faith for this to come to pass because it's here. What I didn't realize, Dr. Geneva, when I went into the building, I thought I really was going to speak to her and do the interview in her conference room. They said, oh, no, we're going to put you in her office. So I'm like tripping at that moment. But as I'm walking to her office, it's like a hallway or a little sitting area with all of her awards. And in that moment, faith came upon me again. So I'm saying, well, if I'm in here, God has shown me what I can actually obtain in my future. So once you fulfill what you have vision for, now God wants to increase you. That's why there's more. That was so amazing. It was a great experience. But God said, but I got more for you. Because I'm thinking like, that's the end,
Right, right.
This is everything. I'm done.
Right.
But God is constantly unfolding. That's why I was talking about those seeds and your harvest.
And the abundance.
Yes. He said, I want to exceed. Woo! He said, I want to exceed what you're expecting. So even with you and I, Dr. Geneva, what we are writing down, and I know you're a woman of vision, you're a woman that plans, even what we are planning for, God said, I want to exceed that. I'm going to let you do that because that's where you are. But I want to do that in abundance. I want to exceed that. But we got to be open for God to do that, Dr. Geneva. And we can't allow fear to take the wheel. We cannot. Fear is going to take us to a place that we'll never see what we're really made of.
And so how do you fight fear?
Well, A lot of ways. I talk myself through. I literally say, come on, Michelle, listen. I'll do the, hey, listen, girl, come on now. Because I know I could do that for other people, so I got to use that on me.
Okay.
I'm doing a lot of talking to myself.
So talk to yourself. That's a good one. Give me a couple others.
My environment. I got to saturate my environment with the right stuff, with the right music, whether it's praise and worship music or good music that's going to drown out the noise within me. Number 3, it is so important to have the right people on your team.
That's a good one.
Your bench have to be so, you have to really depend on your bench at times of your weakness, that really understand you. People that you're not afraid for them to tell you like it is. Not like you want it to.
Yes.
For people that could say, listen, Michelle, you acting out. You acting shady. And you also really have to have a relationship with God. If you have a relationship with God and God is your source, then that is going to eliminate that fear. I'm going to tell you a little story about this fear thing. God said to me, he asked me, he said, Michelle, do you trust me? And I said, of course, I trust you. Like, you're a God. I trust you. He kept asking, but it got my attention. He said, Michelle, do you know I'm the one that's opening the doors for you? I'm the one that's going to touch the hearts of the people that you're aiming for. I'm the one. You would think, and I apologize. I said, God, you're right. I said, I need to reverse this thing that I'm doing. You would have thought that it would got easier. It didn't. It got harder because I built up such a habit and such a codependence on these people that I had to wean myself off of and really begin to trust God. And when I really begin to trust God, is fear real? It could creep up. But I had to really understand that fear is false evidence appearing real. Like, it's not even real. It comes across like it's real, but it's not. Why do I gotta fear? I'm fearing someone saying no to me, and that's going to paralyze me? No way. I'm gonna allow fear to paint a picture. Well, Michelle, you didn't go to school for this, or Michelle, you don't have all the equipment you need. Okay. But even with that, God was able to allow these cover girls and writers to say yes. Come on.
Yes.
So fear is false evidence. It's not real evidence. It's appearing real, but it's really not. So
fear,
I understand what it is, and I put it over there somewhere. Like, okay, you're trying to come up, but you're not real. So I'm a lean on this side. So
false evidence. Fear is false evidence. I love it. Michelle Washington, you have given us so much more than I know I even expected. I loved the whole conversation about the courage to change and the work that you do in prisons and with others, your 3-step process, particularly the one that talks about going back to being a little girl. That was, as you were saying that, the images popped in my mind. When I was little, I just wanted to be a teacher. There was just nothing else that I wanted to be, just that little teacher. And that's what I'm doing now. All the time. I had never ever done it, but now I'm doing it. I'm creating these online courses. To help women learn how to live a vibrant life and discover their you. But it went back to what you said about going back to that little girl and those things that you loved to do, fighting fear, and your tips that you gave us, including having the right people on your team so that the team can help you as well. That's just some good stuff. You just gave us so much more. So tell us real quickly as we're winding down, tell us what's next for Michelle Washington. What's next for you?
Well, Dr. Geneva, the sky's the limit.
Okay.
Whatever that God has for me in this season, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be fearless. I'm going to be undefeated within myself, and I'm going to be unstoppable because I'm going to stay in my lane.
Okay.
There's no way, Dr. Geneva, that you and I, God created you and I to just do barely enough. God can only do great things through us.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to make sure that we stay or remain open for that flow to happen. Oprah talks about it all.
Yes.
Get in that flow.
Right.
Get in your flow.
So that you can have more.
Yes.
Well, Michelle Washington, we love talking to you. Such great, fun conversation, but some very, very specific tips. We'll have you back again, and best of everything to you and your More magazine, your More courses, your Leading Ladies in Leadership course, and all the wonderful things you do. Thank you so much for being a guest today on Ignite to Impact.
My pleasure. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to Ignite to Impact with your host, Dr. Geneva Williams, an award-winning executive, facilitator, and master leadership strategist. Dr. Geneva is passionate about inspiring others to get their own leadership on and empowering the next generation with leadership tools and tips to help make the world a better place. Sign up to download Dr. Geneva's audiobook on leadership. Get the show notes, links, and other resources at drgenevaspeaks.com. That's drgenevaspeaks.com. Thanks for listening. Please share this podcast to those in your community via Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Google+, and leave us a 5-star review in iTunes. When you do that, it helps others find the show better. Send your questions or comments to info@drgenevaspeaks.com and use the hashtag Ignite2Impact.